everybody, I'm Tommy. What's going on? You're on the lifeboat. Hope you're having a good day. A lot of you aren't, right? Keep it real. There's going to be a lot of people in this country, and probably a lot of people around the world who are thoroughly bummed out today. It's kind of the reality of where we're at, right? We'll talk about it. Miss All Smokes, good to see you, Rocket Queen. Oh yeah, good to see you, Rocket Queen. Karen W. Why, thank you. I'm glad that you did. Turns out a lot of people didn't. Paula D, good to see you. Jane Aldrich, what's happening? Johnny Scoville's lurking. Kiki, what's up? Hey, Shane. Toby Sprosty. Feisty Irish. Ivy's mama. Good to see you, Ivy's mama. Let's see here. Yarn Prepper. Shannon. Tribe Called Duff. Dawn Davies, good to see you. Hey, Shane. James Collins Cares is here. Tommy Bird, my brother, how are you? Glad that you're here. DJ Daddy-O, Mr. T, you doing all right? Good, good, good. Karma Chameleon, Joyce Kirby. Hello, Joyce Kirby. Glad you're here. Sandy Wandy, what's up? Nicola, Frog Wizard. Wait a second. Frog Wizard. I'm pretty confident I don't know Frog Wizard. I think that would have stuck out. Bailey, how are you? BMJ Media, good to see you. Frog Wizard. I mean, anybody know Frog Wizard? Welcome to the boat, Frog Wizard. I'm glad that you're here. Diane Hill, how are you? Now, Diane, we're going to, I agree, right? We can say that. What we're not going to do is bum anybody out. I think the entire world should say congratulations, whoever wins. It's how it's supposed to be. But I know people will disagree with that. The number of you have already unsubscribed from me, and I say you because you're still listening, right? This is just something that you wanted to do because you think I probably voted in the opposite direction of you. Never came on here and campaigned for anybody, but a bunch of you assume you know who I voted for, and you're going to leave me because of it. Diane Hill, good to see you. Zal, what's happening? Hey, Subi, the pet wellness coach. Love that name. How cool is that? Jeremy Fowler, how you doing, my brother? Good to see you, man. Linda G. Laura, just as I am. Packer Girl, you're better than DJ Daddy is better than I deserve. You know what? I love that expression. Essie Mac, camera's much better. Different camera. I replaced all of the equipment, Essie Mac. Replaced all of the equipment. Jack Cord, how are you? Dale Cox, love Mama Bear. Sorry, I'm giving you the side head, but this is so much bigger over here. I can really read this. Tanya Holt, how are you? Mad Tarts from Yorkshire. Well, welcome to the boat. Tony G, how are you? Beautiful day in the New York neighborhood, Bailey. Love New York. Wonder what part you're in. Lisa Trimble, good to see you. Taking a break from the computer, the bane of my existence. Well, I know how that feels. You're watching on a plane about to take off. Laura Lou, if you knew how many times I've broadcasted from right where you're at. When I'm on a plane, I usually try to go live just so that you can hear. But there's a child crying behind me. Not sure how this works out, right? But if I book with Delta, they're like, it's Scoville. We're going to need at least one crying baby. Put them 3 rows back and to the left. And I'm never mad at the kid. Kids are kids. You know what I mean? They're going to cry, but it's just, I'm not going to sleep. Tractor. Kit Kat, how are you? Tractor, hope your husband's doing well. Angela, good to see you. AJ Coleman. Linda G. BMJ. Media, no more mouse, man. I am touching over here, man. I'm back to the touch screen. Subi, how are you? Kathy K, you doing all right? Helsinki, all right, there we go. We're pretty much caught up now. David from Australia. Cat C said I didn't. I appreciate that, Cat C. I really do. I appreciate that. Gen X to the power of 7. I did a show last night. The name of the show was The Sun'll Come Out Tomorrow. When I started that show, I had absolutely no idea who was going to be the next president of the United States. It didn't matter, right? Now, it mattered to me on other reasons. It's just like it matters to everybody else. We go out and we vote, which means we choose a side, right? And we hope that our side wins. So I obviously wanted my side to win. And hello, Pamela. I probably have a long list of reasons that I could say why I wanted my side to win. But I want my country to win more than anything else. And to me, the country isn't all of this cool soil that we can grow great food on, right? Or the land that we're standing on that might have oil or minerals or whatever underneath it. To me, although the amber waves of grain and all of that are really, really cool, Hello, Francine Houston. I love everything about our country. Kim Roy, good to see you. Hello, Angela. Now, the government's done some really jacked up things that bother me. We've done a lot of things as a country that I'm not proud of. Straight up. However, to me, America is you, right? America is me. It's all of the people, right, in this country that make this country what it is. And we are all, right, on the same side, or we're supposed to be. Do you know how many posts I saw this morning on Facebook? I stopped counting at 9. 9 posts of people that said, if you voted for that dude, unfriend me right now. So here's what I will say, right? Here's what I will say. Let's pretend for a hot second that Kamala Harris won, right? If you want to unsubscribe anybody that voted for Kamala, I want you to go. I don't want you here. I don't, because that is so narrow-minded, it's terrifying. But I feel the same way. If you want to unsubscribe from people because of who they voted for, either side, what the hell is the matter with you? Hey, Hunter, good to see you. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, the good news is, honestly, this is the only takeaway, and you can all bum out on me or whatever, but I'm a felon. Right? It's nice to know that the glass ceiling doesn't stop at catching a job, right? Kestrel says, I will not unfriend anyone because of a vote. And do you know what? The sun really did come out, didn't it? Right? The sun came out. I wasn't lying. The sun came out. But I am done, right? I am done having any kind of conversation, right? Or I'm not going to try to teach fish to ride bikes. I could recommend 5 or 6 books that I think all people ought to read. Joyce Kirby, good to see you. Spike Z, what's happening? Wharton Thistle, good to see you. Dirty Mouse, how are you? I'm talking about books written by people that you probably haven't heard of, right? Who just describe different things that while I was in prison, I read a crap load of books. And I tried to read nothing but nonfiction, right? And sometimes you have to read fiction because of how the thing works. You get locked down and different things happen. But I really tried to stick to nonfiction, and I developed quite a opinion on politics based on hundreds of books that I read. That's it. And I promise you, I could make an argument for what side. I could do it on either side. I could make a damn good argument as a speaker for either side. I could, because I know the argument on both sides. Ann Brown, are you agreeing to disagree with what? What are you disagreeing with? I'm curious. Bo Beats, Black Sheep. Hi, Tommy. I'm Canadian, so dog in this fight, no dog in this fight. Yeah. But I am happy with the election results purely for the fact that Trump likes to talk. A politician who is afraid to talk to the public is a red flag, in my opinion. Though there's something to that, and I've heard other people say similar things, right? Ann Brown, please tell me what we're disagreeing on. Tara Cole. See, I would never unfriend someone for who they voted for, right? It's democracy. Hey, Freddie, good to see you. We've been doing this forever. Sunset Salty Sage, in my life, I've never had an election come up where they said, this election doesn't mean squat. Doesn't matter if you guys go out or vote or not. Every one of them is the most pivotal. If this election is gone, we're done. Roberta, you do not have to dust off the bat, but I do appreciate you. That's funny as hell, man. It really is. That is funny as hell. I've gotten a lot of love from people outside the United States who have just a completely different opinion on how things should be handled. Because, as Bo Beach just said, I don't have a dog in this fight, right? Don't have a dog in this fight. It's very interesting to see people that don't have a dog in the fight. It's very, very different. Sorry, people. This is someone in my 5, so just give me 1 second. This is important. If you don't know what the 5 is, these are people that will call me if they feel like they're going to relapse. I have 5 people that I work with one-on-one. Right? Everybody else here kind of does the same thing. And if you have 5 people, right, that you can call at any time, then good things are going to happen. Transformation by Kathy O'Brien. I have not read that book. but I'm going to write it down. Sorry. And now I'm really done, I promise. Now I'm really done, I promise. Okay, people, thank you for your patience. I know that that's awful, man. It's super unprofessional. Super, super unprofessional. Serenity prayer said like a mantra. Do you know something? I love that. How's that for an approach? It's things I can't handle, right? There's things I can handle. I hope I'm smart enough to know the difference, right? Tommy Bird disagrees with disagreement. I like that. Cat C says, name 4 great nonfiction political books. Are you doing that to be a wise guy because you don't think I read books? Or are you literally wanting me to recommend some to you? Because I can start spitting them out. But by the books that I tell you, there are going to be some people who are going to say, oh, he leans one way or the other. And it's going to be one of those things that I'm not trying to bum anybody out. But if you want to know what I think are the best nonfiction books on politics, you can send me an email. If we were all cool enough, right, nobody would just freak the hell out. I could probably start listing them, right? But people will freak out. Sadly, that's kind of the way it goes. But you'd be shocked. Read the new Jim Crow. There you go. Probably didn't see that one coming, but read the new Jim Crow. It's a hell of a book. It is a hell of a book. It really is. Inmates should not lose their vote, in my opinion. I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't think for a hot second, right, that inmates should lose their vote. I think that they should lose their vote while they're inside. I do. I think that they should lose their vote while they're inside. It's true, Zelda. Zelda says our country will never win if we all keep spewing hatred from both sides. And that is a fact. That is an absolute fact. Lisa Trimble says, why would I unfriend someone? They are entitled to their opinion. And besides, they don't know who I voted for. Well, everybody seems to have absolutely no doubt who I voted for. Hold on one second. You'd say 400? Okay, Cat C. And you're challenging me? I kind of feel like you're being a douche nozzle if you really want to know the truth. And I don't have a lot of patience today. I don't. Because jackasses, one after another, have been telling me that the world's going to end. And they got their hands on their heads and they're screaming. Have you seen these friggin' videos? We're all going to die. I'm so friggin' tired of it. I'd like to vomit. I really would. I'd like to vomit. 4 a.m. in Australia. Cooley Ray, good to see you. Jemiah COVIDland says, I'm 91 pounds on food probation because of Dusty. It's an American Work Act. I'm well past expecting anything positive to come from either side. Wow. I'm 91 pounds on food probation because of Dusty Johnson's America Works Act. I'm well past expecting anything positive to come from either side. I got some thoughts and prayers for Jemiah. That sounds absolutely horrific. Truly. Jet Arctic Creations. Hello, Tanya Holt. We do deal with this every 4 years, do we not? Lauren Maxwell, hey, what's happening? But they're getting better at it, right? They're getting better at it. For a very long time, they've been trying to separate us to hate each other, right? It's not enough to say that person voted for somebody that I didn't. You have to hate the person, right? This is what they've been doing, and they've been doing it successfully, right? They've been doing it successfully. What is that book I recommended last time? Red and Blue America. You know what? If Kirsten Melinda's here, she, I believe, took that book and started reading it. So if she's here, she can spit that up for me. 13 years of reading literally a book a day. I probably would struggle to list 40 books off the top of my head, right? But if you start going through certain genres, I promise you that I've read, it's all I did. Vera says both parties are owned by a PAC, so it does not matter. Well, certainly PACs are pumping a lot of money into people's campaign coffers, and it's happening on both sides of the equation, right? It is. And it's happening because laws were passed that said, if you have $20 million, you can't put $10 million up for the person that you want to be president. I find that amazing. Seriously. I mean, if you spend your money on cocaine, you're an idiot, but you should be able to spend your money on anything you want. It may get you arrested. It may get you, but No, you can't spend your money on that. So they came out with the concept of PACs so that people that wanted to donate more than $1,200 or $1,400 or whatever they set the cap at, right? They wanted to donate more than that because they feel, I don't say it's a good thing. I'm not. I'm just explaining the concept of why it happened. Serious question. I have a, not only do I believe that we will have a vote in 4 years, I will bet you, and you can send me an email, any one of you, I will bet you that there's a vote in 4 years, and I'll give you 10-1 odds. So you give me a call over it. And it's not because I think that this man is the greatest person we've ever elected. I say it because I've been doing this for 54 freaking years. And it's always the same thing. This is, if this person loses, we're never going to even get another vote. It's be the end of our country. It's not going to be the end of our country. It's not. And sadly, the people that believe that, not being disrespectful, because it's on both sides. It's on both sides. Are people that are spending way too much time watching mainstream media. 93% of the world, especially in our country, have decided that it's all BS and we're not going to waste another second on it, right? However, there's a large group of people out there that watch it, and whatever they say is a fact. Whatever they say is a fact. Avena Sativa nails it. This has been happening our entire life, has it not? The pendulum swings. It swings from one direction to the other, right? It swings from one direction to the other. That is what happens. So if you have a group of people that go really far in one direction, you can bet the farm the pendulum is going to swing back in the opposite direction. Shane says, want to hang out tomorrow night? Yeah, I would. That would be great, man. That would be great. I will see you there. I will announce that tomorrow night, between 7 and 9, I will be on the Sean Atwood program. So there you go. Avena Sativa says, stop watching the news. It's propaganda. I want to tell you something. The last time that this happened, right? The last time this happened. You know what? Did you realize that there's literally no way to win this? There's no way to win this. The last election, they say about 40,000 votes separated it, right? This time, more than 5 million votes separated it, right? This time, the person that was elected got over 300 electoral votes. They won the popular vote. They won the electoral college. They also took the Senate, and pretty sure they're going to take the House. I'm not saying this for any other reason other than that's a mandate. That's a country saying, we're not happy with the direction the country's going in. We're going to put someone else in because we think it was better when he was there. You can hate everybody for that, but that's what people think. And I've been doing this forever too. The person that said, hey, you know what? I'm gay and I'm this. Can you just be kind? I've been doing this forever too. And I have been listening to people tell me that the world is going to explode because this guy's gotten in there. Have you met him? Seriously, you ever shake hands with this cat? No, what you've done is, everybody, both sides, no matter who it is. What we do is we listen to trolls, right? Trolls that talk about Biden, trolls that talk about Trump. We listen to people that literally troll, right? Then we listen to debates where they yell and scream at each other and BS. And why? Because we let this happen. We allowed them to make you hate your neighbor based on who he voted for or who she voted for. We weren't these people. You know, it's never been this bad. It's never been this bad. Did you make it through the end of the 1960s? Because I'll tell you what, it was bad, right? Race riots were burning cities to the ground. We had 2 or 3 assassinations. This was a rugged time. People thought, this is it. It's over, right? People were protesting and burning stuff. People were getting shot at college campuses, right? 4 dead in Ohio. The Kent State stuff. This was rugged. I promise you, we've had times that were this ugly. It's just that once the hangover gets over, right, and we go, we forget that we said we're all going to die for the last 19 elections. But this is what we've been saying. The sun came out. No, we cannot vote while incarcerated. Can't do it. They won't allow that. So when you get out, no, you mean did I ever do it illegally? Not that I know of, right? Not that I know of. And the reason I say not that I know of is because my ex-wife while I was incarcerated, did an awful lot using my identity, right? She managed some loans. She managed to get some business loans. She did pretty well for herself. So she very well may have had her boyfriend who looked enough like me to get loans out in my name. Maybe she had him vote too. I don't know. But no, I never have legally been able to vote from inside prison. They don't allow it. They're talking about it. They're talking about it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. And I'm all for felons having rights, right? I'm a felon. In fact, I got more felonies than the current president that just got elected does. What do you have, 34? I think I got more than that. I was not a very good person. And that's kind of the way it is, you know? I just want to see, the nice thing, the only thing that makes me happy, right? The only thing that makes me happy is this isn't close enough. This wasn't such a close election that we're going to go, you know what? This has been a ripoff. This has been this. With all due respect, right? He kicked the crap out of her. It's the way it goes, right? But that's better, right, than the alternative. If there were 30,000 votes, do you know where we'd be going with this? But the people have spoken, right? I don't hate the people, and I got news for you. I'd be doing the same show if Kamala Harris had won as the president of the United States. I promise. You read that Diddy got votes. He did. I promise you he did. I promise you he did. And I bet you he got a bunch, right? But voting is definitely the least of Diddy's problems at the moment. And trust and believe, I will be telling you all about Diddy's problems later today. Supposedly, if on trial, not convicted and housed, you can vote absentee. That is true. That is true. Even like if you're in county jail waiting to end up going to court on something, you can cast your vote. Because until you are actually voted in, do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm not doing this. I promise I'm not. I promise I'm not. Because unfortunately, the world's going to end. There are people out here for whom this is it. This is it. Never going to be the same. Never going to be the same. Right? I promise you, never going to be the same. And they're going to tell you some crazy crap about what he's about to do. I'm not kidding you. Last night, I watched somebody on YouTube say one of the first things he's doing in the first 7 days is to kill his Democratic opponents, that he has a plan to round them up and execute them. Are you yitting me? I'm so blown away by how far this has gone, and it's gone this way because they wanted us doing this. Does that not bum you out a little? This was their plan. They wanted us hating one another, right? Same reason that prisons want black people fighting white people. They want Mexicans siding with one race. They want black siding with... All of it is designed to keep us fighting, because if we all got along, do you know what would happen? We'd say stuff like, the food sucks, right? We're eating grade D meat here. We're not going to put up with this crap anymore. Maybe tomorrow, none of us go to work. A prison is run 100%, right? All of the work done in there is done by inmates. So cooking for $1,300, those are inmates cooking for $1,300. Cleaning up afterwards, inmates. Fixing the air conditioning units, fixing any of the stuff in there, all of it's done. Plumbing, it's all done by inmates. And if they all decided on a Monday they weren't going to work, especially if they did it nationwide, I don't think you have any idea the kind of shit they'd be in. They would have to call out the National Guard to try to pull off what would need to be pulled off. You'd have to cook. You'd have to do all of these things, right? Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now they want to do it to us on the street. Why? Because if we all get together, we might say stuff like, you know what? This system doesn't work. The system doesn't work. It sucks. Here's what's wrong with it. We're not going to do that if all we do is scream at one another and hate the person who voted the other way. Okay? The person that voted on the other side, we got to hate them, right? Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense if you're running this joint And I don't mean the person that's about to step into the White House, because if you think that's who's running the world, I'm sorry. But with all due respect, I'm not buying that. I'm not. Jedart Creation says, I think Biden should pardon Trump and Trump should pardon Hunter. There's a lot of talk about pardoning, and there's a decent chance that we will see some pardoning getting done. We also, and I'll tell you, this is one of the absolute, for me, when somebody gets elected and the people that were running, the incumbents, get kicked out of office, I'm always really fired up because they're going to start letting inmates go home. The number of people that they're going to pardon between now and the time they're out of there is huge. And you know something? We filed for Q. His name's in there. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of traction because I don't donate to to Democratic funds, and honestly, you kind of have to. I don't think that they're randomly just pardoning people randomly. You really have to get. But I love the fact that there are people who are in prison right now who think they're never going to get out, who are going to get literally like the phone call from God that says, you know what? We're going to let you go. Man, it makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I mean, I don't have any, right? You know what, Spike? You're going to go in a second, right? This is politics. You're going to sit here and say, let's not talk about politics. And then you're going to do it. And no one else has done this, Spike. No one else has done this. So this is your warning, because I don't want to do this. We're talking about the problems. No one is saying, well, here's this. You want to do this? Because I'll shred you. Either side you pick, I'll shred you. Not trying to be a jerk, but I promise I've spent more time reading. I had way more time to kill. It's pointless for us to sit here and spit stuff out. Okay, tell you what, send me an email. And if he gets rid of Medicare, the Affordable Care, all of this stuff's gone, just send me an email. I'll give you 100-to-1 odds. Let me tell you something else for all of the geniuses out here. You could, before the Obamacare went in, if you walked into an emergency room with cancer and said, I don't have insurance, they kicked you out? Do you believe that? Because it didn't happen. There has been a law that they can't kick you out forever. You walk into an emergency room, they treat you. Now, people can sit and BS about that, but talk to a heroin addict, talk to any junkie, because we didn't have insurance, but we went to hospitals like this, emergency rooms, one right after the other, because that's how we got dope if all else failed. The number of times I went to a hospital and faked an injury, you would not believe it. God forgive me, right? I am one of the reasons that system was as jacked as it was, because all of you had to pay for the fact that I was going to get high. Your tax dollars had to cover the fact that I was going to get high, and I'm not going to pay that bill. I didn't have any intention of paying that bill. And there were times I did 4 hospitals in a day. The computers weren't the way they are, right? I used to go from one emergency room to the next. But they were always treating people. We're that country. We are. I'm not sure what that one is, Paula Pedley. I'm sorry about that. The system made me get high, though. You know what, True Crime Boozer? The system was bad, man, right? The system was bad. I'll be really honest. It was awful, right? And I absolutely, oh my God, it's awful. It really is. It's awful. So there was obviously a lot of problems that started this epidemic we have of people overdosing, right? There's a lot of things that cause that. And the government is complicit in a ton of it. And not just because the laws sucked and they did knee-jerk reaction laws that put stuff back in a really ugly way, right? But on top of that, the incest, right? The incestuous relationship between the Food and Drug Administration and the people that work in big pharma will make you vomit, right? And I'll tell you something. For all of you that are that know every person I support and who I am, I look at people, whether you believe it or not. I look at them one at a time. The former mayor of New York, right? The former mayor of New York was a lawyer for one of the nastiest and most disgusting families on planet Earth, the one that absolutely started this opioid epidemic. That dude's a dirtbag, right? There are a lot of people that when you start chasing down and you see where lawyers worked and who they worked for, I'm sorry, there's a lot of stuff like that that's really a bummer. Now, I am a junkie. The problem, the reason I was a junkie, I unfortunately cannot blame that on the government. I wish I could. I really do. They certainly didn't make it harder for me to become a drug addict, right? At the time that they were doing it, the laws that they passed and the things that they did fast-tracked me to becoming a junkie. It did. Completely fast-tracked me. And I will, but if I was doing the things I was supposed to be doing, then this wouldn't have been an issue, right? It just wouldn't have been an issue. I'll be honest, I think RFK is a pretty interesting dude. I really do. And I'm hoping that we're going to see a coalition begin to come together, because for a very long period of time, people would have, if you had said 5 years ago, which direction do you think what's the guy's name? Tesla? Can't think of his name. How bad is that? Elon Musk. Elon Musk, people thought that dude was definitely leaning left. Things happened in his life that have caused him to reevaluate things. Now, I will tell you something. I don't think he's dumb. I don't. I think he has one of the sharpest intellects that we have. I'm not saying you got to like the cat, but I don't think anybody's going to tell me he's got an 85 IQ, right? There are geniuses who voted for Kamala Harris. There are geniuses who vote for her because they saw something that they thought was the direction to go in. I'm not pissed at them. I'm not. Yadira, good to see you. Hey, Cassidy, how are you? What's up, Angela? Humble and kind, good to see you. So I'm hoping that he's a pretty sharp cat. I'm hoping that we can use this guy's intelligence to try to help this country. I'm seeing people care in ways that I haven't before. This ought to make everybody really happy, right? Everybody can get really pissed off. But do you know that the guy that just got elected got more black votes than any other Republican president ever? He got more votes from Latinos than any other Republican candidate ever. This, to me, seems like people coming together. It seems like there are people looking at the other side objectively. I don't care if you like or don't like what they say. Anytime I see people in any way go, hey, I think I'll look at this through your eyes, we're winning the lottery. How many of you are doing that? For real, how many of you are doing that? Last night, I was sitting with Johnny Scoville, and we were watching the election results came in. And my brother said to me, it bums me out the number of people who this is going to devastate. I didn't think about it, if you really want to know the truth, right? I didn't think about it. I should, right? I absolutely should. Jill Anderson says, does connection mean that you can understand? Connection means that you do not suffer in silence. Connection means that you talk to people, right? Now, you might talk to people and say, we're going to take politics off the table, right? I'll be really honest with you. I would like every fourth show to be about politics. It's not the audience that can handle it. I don't mean you. I mean the big red button. And the kind of hate I get from trying to get people sober, good God. If I wanted to pick a side and go that direction, the amount of hate I'd get would just be terrifying. Quotations intentionally. Do you think the free drugs and the protection are the few big reasons why Diddy's friends kept quiet? I think that the reason Diddy's friends are staying quiet primarily is because they don't know whether or not they're on tape, right? I don't think everybody realized that all of these rooms had been wired for sound and video. I think that was more of a well-kept secret than the other way around. The cameras are described as hidden, right? These are not the thing you see up on the wall while you're getting ready to have sex with someone underage, right? Or you're getting ready to do a freak off, or you're getting ready to do whatever they're doing off in the other rooms, right? So once this bust happens, everybody's watching the news. Holy crap, Diddy got busted. Bummer, man. There wasn't no party like a Diddy party. And then the next thing they hear is, and they took 250 or whatever cameras out of one of the houses. And all of them went, what? I'm sorry, what? Everything has been recorded at these houses, in these rooms. Everything, everywhere was recorded. I think every one of these people, in many cases, these are people who are going, yeah, I don't know, man, right? The concept that these individuals stuck around. I think the other reason, probably more than anything, is fear. Again, this is a secret that's not a secret, that this guy allegedly had a hand in removing like a baker's dozen people off of planet Earth. That's what's being alleged. His name comes up again and again and again and again and again and again and again as somebody that, yeah, guy's a dirtbag, right? Sorry. Just think how much power you have when you can call TD Jakes and say, remember last night? And the two 13-year-old boys, yeah, we got that on film. Bingo, right? Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one, isn't it? Sorry, people. I'm way behind. There we go. There we go. Just think how much power you have when you can call TD Jakes and say, remember last night, you and the two 13-year-old boys? Yeah, we've got that on film. Or you call a professional athlete and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put $1 million on the Lakers and the under. So I want you to win the game, but I don't want you to cover the point spread. And, right, I mean, you can make money. You can manufacture money. If you got an athlete on the payroll, you can manufacture money, right? You guys have all seen the movie Goodfellas. You know the movie, right? So Henry Hill in the film goes to prison. What he went to prison for was fixing basketball games, right? For real. That was the big bust is he had players. And what they do is they let these players gamble and they give them some dope or whatever. And the next thing you know, the guy owes $4,000, to one of these dudes. And the guy comes by and says, we're going to need that $4,000 by tomorrow afternoon. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, by tomorrow afternoon, we're going to I don't have that kind of money. Hey, relax. Because the people that I work for are pretty violent people, but I'm not. There's got to be a way we can do this. Can you call your parents? Because you know what's going to happen? He's running the VIG, the juice, right? The vigorish, which means that next week, you're not going to owe $4,000. You're going to owe $4,500. And the following week, right? So I'll tell you what, why don't we just shave some points? I don't want you to lose a game. I would never ask you to throw a game, right? I just don't want you to win by 25. I need you to win by about 4 or 5. Not asking you to lose, right? But please, just shave some points. And you can manufacture money. You can absolutely manufacture money. And sorry, but that's kind of the truth. Wow, those are all great things, aren't they? Aren't they? I love everyone equally. I don't care what your political views are. It's about loyalty, integrity, honor, respect. Yeah, honesty. It's a big deal. I love that, humble and kind. I really do. I love that. Jane Aldrich says, Tommy, missed a lot of this live between the plumber outside and the water company on the phone. The good news is 6 to 8 months ago, I couldn't have done this. I'd have hidden in my bedroom. Wow. Wow. Man, that makes me happy. Honestly, Jane, I can't tell you how happy that makes me. For real. That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. I'm very, very pleased. Anne, welcome, Anne. She's not going to see this till later, but look at that. I'll throw you up there. Judy Chang says, I'm very upset today, and I'm pretty sure that if he didn't win, there would be riots and violence today. I've heard people come down on both sides of that, right? I've heard people say that last night they were expecting people to, if it's within 10 or 15,000 votes, right? 20,000, 40,000, where people can go, oh no, man, no, right? And it makes people start to, I think, lean toward that. But if it comes out and it's a mandate, and I'm not trying to bum anybody out, right? But if you win all three houses and you carry more than 300 electoral points, you beat the hell out of your opponent, right? And you don't do that without 5 million more votes than your opponent got. And that to me is at least the only good news, right? Ain't anybody going to be saying that, well, he slipped a couple of ballots in. Lehigh, Pennsylvania just got on the boat. Hello, Lehigh. Have I seen Eyes of the Devil? I can't watch modern things, right? Sometimes I can listen to them instead. I have a traumatic brain injury, and the type of editing they do, where it's like a split second of film followed by a split second of film, and it's images that you're seeing really, really fast that our brain puts back together, right? My brain cannot put that back together. It's just isn't, right? Just isn't. We're not going to talk about politics in terms of issues, right? That's talking about politics. You think I'm kidding? We're not doing this. And what do you want me to do? Honestly, do you want me to argue with you? Is that what we're hoping for? Because I'm not doing it, right? I'm not. It's unhealthy. It is unhealthy. So to pop up, right, and throw out a comment that you think you make your point and then you disappear, it's the last time you do it. Or you will really disappear. Kindness, right? Maybe the day after the election is not time to discuss which issues you think are better or worse. What we're talking about here is the fact that we didn't get this way by accident. This was not something that just happened. This was a very designed, right? This was designed, this was focused to do exactly what it's doing. And it was a plan that has been taking place for a very, very long period of time, right? It really has. Do you guys remember Schoolhouse Rock? Huh? I loved that. Did you like that? I loved Schoolhouse Rock. Yeah, James Sharp, easy money, right? If the person doesn't even want to get involved, all you got to do is, a LeBron James says he pulled a hamstring. That dude doesn't play three quarters. Your team's doing a hell of a lot different, right? Now, the gangsters aren't going to like that much, right? Because your teammates may rally and really pull one off. What they would like you to do is go in there and throw a couple of passes up into the stands, right? Throw a couple of shots you guarantee aren't going to go in, because they lean on, a player like that. Now, I'm not saying that he is owned by Diddy, right? I'm not suggesting that. I am suggesting there's some really weird pictures of the dude out there, right? And there's a great short where he goes, because everybody knows there ain't no party like a Diddy party. And allegedly, he didn't miss a lot of them, right? James says, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. You guys remember that? I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Great, right? This was how we learned so much stuff that we learned by accident. We didn't even think about it, right? We just watched it. It was Saturday morning cartoons, and that crap just sort of, you had to get through that one to get to Scooby-Doo, right? You had to get through that one to get to the next whatever, right? I remember being a freshman in college, and I had a political science class, and the person said, the professor said, by Monday, I would like you guys to memorize the preamble to the Constitution. And one of the dudes in the class with us raised his hand and went, yeah, which one's the preamble? How does that start? And the dude said, we the people. And I'm talking about, without missing a beat, the 100 students in that class, all the same age, right? Saying, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. And if you know what I'm talking about, you will know that whole thing, because it has been drilled into your head by watching that every morning. You think it's a bad thing? I'm dead serious. This is a legitimate question. Do you think that's a bad thing? Do you think Schoolhouse Rock was a bad thing? Because they got rid of it. Because there was a party that thought it was a bad thing. They thought that it was propaganda, that they were brainwashing people from this country to love their country, and that no one should be pushed in that direction. They should be able to just, unfortunately, they taught a lot of other crap, right? Most people don't know. Yeah, honestly, if I have conversations with people, I say, how many branches of government are there, right? How many Supreme Court justices are there? How many houses are there in the Senate? How many houses are there in the House? Who can start impeachment processes? All of these things, right, that they don't teach at any level. And then we're shocked when only elite people, right, from elite colleges and rich families end up running for office. Well, they're the only people that got a proper education, right? They learn things like how a bill gets passed. They learn things like how all this gets put together. By the way, am I crapping on one party versus another? I don't want anybody here, right? I don't want anybody here beating on anyone else here. I don't. Anna from Canada, I love you. Please, this is the last warning. I don't want, one more time, for anyone that just got here, I don't want you arguing what point you need to make. In other words, regardless of what party gets in there, we need to get rid of. Let's not talk about specific issues, because until we can get to a point, and I don't know that we can. How do you like that? I don't know that we can. But until we can get to a point where we're all actually cool bringing up a subject matter and talking about it, right? Then we probably shouldn't. It's pretty sad that we can't. It's pretty sad that that's where we've come to. Schoolhouse Rock was great, man. I had a friend in prison that had the bill from Schoolhouse Rock tattooed big as hell on his arm, which I always thought was really, really funny. JJ says, I bought my son the set of Schoolhouse Rock on eBay. Teaches him government. Good for you, man. Good for you. Good for you. She's Canadian. Well, she gets a pass. She gets a pass. You all get a pass. You all get a pass, right? For real. But the hatred, I did a show last night and I called it, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. Somebody left a comment that said, I don't want the sun to come out today. Wants the world to end. No sun, right? I don't want another day. My girl didn't win. I don't want another day. I had to say, 500,000 comments, right? And that's the dumbest one anyone's ever left. And guess what? If it had been somebody leaving the exact same comment because Trump didn't get elected, we'd be having the same conversation, right? 4 years ago, when people were saying, oh God, they elected Biden, this dude's going to destroy the entire planet, I was saying the same thing. Dude's not going to destroy the entire planet. The sun's going to come out tomorrow. Is it going to be the best possible case scenario? Not for people who don't like him, right? Not going to be the best possible case scenario, but it goes like this. Been going like this forever, right? And you'll hear stuff like, if they get in this time, there will never, ever be anybody ever elected again except Democrats. Been hearing that one my whole life. I have. The Republicans have been saying that BS since I was born. There's going to be so many people brought across the southern border that they're going to rig it so that there can never, ever be, ever, another win for the Republican Party. The stupidness in that statement is this. You're going to bring all of those people over and you just know how they're going to vote? You don't. I promise you don't. Something really weird happens when you give someone the ability to participate in government. They don't necessarily just want to do what you tell them anymore. People get excited about it, especially if you came from a place where your vote didn't matter, right? But I promise you, the Mexicans coming across the border, if we made all of them citizens today, we're still going to have elections. And I'll tell you something, you may not believe this. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. If they don't have a felony, right? If they didn't come across illegally and they're a felon in their own country, I don't have a problem with that. I don't. Make all of them citizens. It wouldn't bother me in the slightest. I think it would be a decent way to move forward. Providing, right? There was another part of that, as in, okay, but we're not going to let unabated. We're not going to let heroin and fentanyl and whatever come into till it's the number one cause of death in our country, right? I think most people do know who I voted for. And I did it because I had said from the very beginning, I am a one issue human being. Doesn't mean I don't know all the rest of them. But what I know is this. I had a large group of people that I knew, 70, 60, 70, something like that. My best friend, his name is Jack. And Jack and I did dope every day. The other 58 people or whatever came in and out of our universe. They're all dead. I'm not exaggerating. Every single one of them are dead. And not one of them, I shouldn't say that. One of them got into their 70s. The rest of them all died in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. That's absolutely horrific, right? Number one cause of death in our country is fentanyl. And we know where it's coming from, right? We know where it's coming from. So if you had a chance to sit down and talk to the president of another country for, say, 10 hours, and you don't mention the word fentanyl, you've lost my vote, right? That's it. Then he stepped down, and the border czar ran for president. I'm sorry if you guys hate me, but the border czar, right? We gave her a shot, gave her 4 years to try to stop fentanyl from coming across the border, right? Didn't work. And I'm really, really concerned about that, right? It's the number one cause of death in this country, right? Really ugly, man. Really, really ugly. And this is a great point. And that is the people overdosing, particularly on one or two chemicals, right? On just one or two chemicals. However, food addiction, massive cause of death, right? A massive cause of death. And I think, right, we try to talk about these things. Yeah, James Sharp, I read his book while I was in prison. Was it his mom? I think it was his grandma, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was mom. He stayed with grandma, who cursed like a sailor. But you thought that was my one. I feel very strongly about. I feel very strongly about a lot of issues. However, I believed, unlike, the fact that if Kamala Harris had become president, the world was not going to end. If we continue to allow drugs to come into our country at the rate they're coming into our country, I think we have a chance of our country ending. I legitimately do. I mean, we are at a place right now where the number of people we're losing, right, for the first time, our life expectancy is dropping. That has never happened to us. It's never happened to us. Every year we live a little bit longer as a country. Not anymore. Not anymore. And see, James Sharp says all of my friends are gone. That's me too, man. That's me too. By the way, if you got bounced out of this chat today, come on back tomorrow and we'll give this another shot. Right? I'm not kicking anybody out, for good because of anything that happened today. I promise you I'm not. I know people are upset, but I'm not going to sit here and have people try to debate because it's not why we're here. It's not why we're here. It's not what I'm going to do. I would like very much to get to a point where, and this is going to sound so stupid that people are going to be pissed off. I want to get to a world where kids can experiment with drugs again. It sounds really stupid, doesn't it? But right now, they're experimenting with drugs anyway. But the drug supply isn't safe. And they're going to continue to experiment with drugs. Until we find a way to make drugs no longer get you high, people are going to continue to experiment with them, which means we have an obligation to make sure that there's not poison out there for them to try. I know that there are people who are going to email me and they're going to say, you know what, if somebody wants to do dope, then, this is the best thing that could happen. We're cleaning out the herd. We're thinning this. Really, man? You're cool with that? That's how you want to be known, man? God help us. Honestly, that's where you want to go. All right. All right, man. I mean, it's a bummer, man. It's a bummer. Kiki says, tinfoil hat opinion. They're trying to kill us. Oh, they are. They are. The question just becomes, who are they and why are they? Now, I'm not trying to get into politics. I'm really not. However, they, in my opinion, are I can't say their name because they demonetize every single time I do, but they're the big red button, right? I mean, the big red country that doesn't like us, right? That is where the stuff comes from. We know that, right? We know that. That's where the stuff is coming from. And we did say to them, you're not going to ship fent to this part of the planet ever again. Unfortunately, that wasn't good enough, right? Honestly, if we were smarter, and by the way, this was Trump, but had we been smarter, no one up to that point had said to China, you're not sending any more fentanyl to our country. He was the first person to do it. Unfortunately, he didn't say, you're also not going to send any chemicals that people can use to make this stuff. It's going to be nice when somebody finally tells them that, because what's happening is it's like, no, we're not going to have any chocolate chip cookies. It's not going to happen. However, we're going to send over some flour. We're going to send over some cookies. We're going to send over some butter, right? There are people that no matter what you do are just going to do what they want to do anyway. No matter how many times you say, hey, we're not trying to talk about specific issues, because it's going to cause people. They're just people who are going to keep talking about it. It's just how it is, I guess. I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to do anything. I'm disappointed in you. Right? I ask you not to do something. You continue to do it. You're slapping me in the face. Just go ahead, do it. I mean, obviously you don't have a lot of respect for what I'm doing. That's okay. It's all right. It really is. I grew up in the Netherlands. If you want to do drugs, they give them to you. They give you a safe place to do them. And most people choose not to do drugs. Go figure. The Netherlands, and I wrote a very long paper about this a very long time ago. But the Netherlands succeeded in making dope uncool, right? People didn't necessarily look at pot like it was this really cool crap anymore because mom and dad smoked pot, right? It wasn't this sort of forbidden thing that was out there that, you become part of the cool club because you're breaking the law and you're doing all those things. I'll be honest with you. That was a big part of me becoming a druggie in high school. It really was. The fact that what I was doing was illegal, and the fact that my friends, what they were doing, we were breaking the law, right? To have the fun that we were having, we were stepping away, right? Yeah. Anyway, the Netherlands successfully made drugs uncool, right? Yeah. Your Suge nightcap. There you go. A Suge nightcap. I like that. Hey, for laughs, let's see something here real quick, because this is always good for a laugh. Let's do this here. Booyah! 17 subscribers I've lost since I started this live feed. 17 down. It'll be a hell of a lot more by the time it's done. And you know what? I'm not going to miss you. If the things that I said here today were so offensive to you that you need to leave, good. Good. Right? For real. You know something? The question that was just asked, and it went by, I'm not going to pull it back, but the question was, do I think that the feds waited to leak the video of Cassie Ventura until they had all of their ducks in a row? I don't believe that is the case. I honestly do not believe that is the case. I'm going to tell you what I believe, and you're going to tell me that I'm absolutely crazy, but I'm going to tell you what I believe. I believe that it was leaked by Sean Combs' team. That's who I believe leaked that video. Because if you have that video, and you have that video, and there's a chance that video might just come out, right? He obviously bought that video, because we know that the night of, he tried to buy the video and it didn't work. Well, obviously it had to have, right? Because allegedly he had a copy of it. So it's kind of a big deal. Well, if he were to be able to get that evidence thrown out, then the guy could go into court and say, I don't put hands on women. If you could get that thrown out, how do you get something like that thrown out? Because it's not going to happen. Well, if you can blame it on the prosecution, sounds stupid as hell, right? I promise you, there are people going, man, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. it's cancer to your case, right? It's cancer to your case, and it's out there. What do you do? What do you do? Because here's my takeaway. It was given to CNN, right? Allegedly, it was given to CNN. Nobody asked for a payment. Do you have any idea how much money that you could have had? Do me a favor, somebody, right? Johnny Scoville, make Anna from Canada disappear for the rest of the day. Can you do that for me? Thank you. Thank you. Since you cannot listen to what I say and be respectful, I will have you leave for the day. If you would like to come back tomorrow and not be a jackwagon, perhaps we will be able to get along. I have asked you really specifically to stop doing what you're doing. It's classless, right? You're at my house. If you don't like the channel, go away. But if I ask you in the spirit, I'm wasting my freaking time. I really am. I'm wasting my time. Yeah, TC, you were probably it was probably a blessing, I think, for people that grew up in the Netherlands in that time. I think the same thing can happen in the U.S. because of the legalization of cannabis. I think that's a start in the right direction. We have been incarcerating people, right, forever for putting chemicals into their bodies, right? How do we do that? Well, we've determined that there are things you can't do with your body. Say it any way you want. We've determined I can't put heroin in my body. You can't put cocaine in your body. They can't smoke weed in their body. Okay. I don't think you should be able to do that. I don't think you should be able to tell anybody what they can do with their body. So if that's the standard we're going to use, then we need to make these things legal. And I know that people are going to freak out with me saying that. But where it has been made legal, funny thing happens. There's a spike in drug use. Not a huge one, but there's a spike in drug use. And the spike lasts about 3 to 4 years, right? Consistently, where they do this. The spike lasts for about 3 to 4 years. And then it begins to tail off. And it begins to tail off quickly. It loses the ability for somebody to make a fortune on it, right? And when you take away the black market value of the drug, the mystique starts to go away too. I sold a lot of blow. And the first time you get a kilo of one, there's something that happens. And it's because of how we grew up. It's because of Miami Vice. It's because of every movie we ever saw. But the first time you get that key, it's something else now. It's not just illegally trying to make drugs. There's something about it that the forbidden fruit part of it and everything that they did, I was done. I was so screwed. By the time that thing first showed up, I looked at it and went, oh man, I'm done. I was addicted to being a criminal, for real. And you know why? Because there is this thing, no joke, and there's almost this undercurrent of this stuff shouldn't be illegal, right? Screw them. What I'm doing, I'm almost fighting for what's right, right? I know it's stupid as crap, right? I'm not saying it's logical. You do understand. I'm not saying it's logical. I'm not. But I promise you, I thought like that. Deadhead is 100% right. Deadhead is 100% right? Most people using substances because they're trying to deal with trauma and not getting the help they need. Boom, right? Boom. This is John Doe. The two are definitely linked. Everybody see what John Doe said? Illegal drug trade is linked to H trafficking. It will never go away. It's never going to disappear, right? It's never going to disappear. Neither is SA. But we owe it to the world to fight our ass off to make sure that both we try to eliminate, right? We need to try to eliminate this. Win? I don't think so. I've said it 1,000 times. I don't think we can win the war on drugs. That doesn't mean you quit fighting. It means you start fighting smart, right? Now, my war on drugs, I have a son, I have a daughter, right? I got about a dozen nieces and nephews, and every one of them, that's my battle. The war on drugs, we might lose. That's my battle, right? I'm not going to let any of them get addicted to dope. I'm not going to let any of them do fent. I'm not going to let any of them become one of the statistics, right? I'm not going to let them. They're going to know that if the pills don't come in a pill bottle from a pharmacy with your name on them, you can't take them. Even if it's in somebody else's pill bottle, it's got their name on it. That ain't good enough, right? A lot of people buy pills, and to make sure they don't get in trouble, they'll put them into an old prescription bottle that says Perks on it, right? Looks legit. Now the person can carry them around. I promise you, if it doesn't come out of something that you got a prescription for, you can't do it. You understand? Boo, 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 doo, 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 doo. I don't know what is going on. See, my Johnny Scoville unplugged my touch screen, and I didn't realize that the battery was going out, which was kind of a bummer. So I am now having to use the big boy stuff, and I'm not any good at it. Sadly, I am not. This is not my strong suit, to be sure. I can talk. Cocaine makes you think you are right. If you aren't doing it and watching people on it, they're all talking at once about how great they are, or how great their idea is, or why they got an idea for business that's going to blow you away. The one that always really used to scare me, and it used to happen a lot, is if you start doing rails with somebody, right? You start ingesting that powder up your nose, right? And someone says, I got the greatest idea for a screenplay. Okay? You need to turn it around as fast as you can. Or if they say, you know what, my story would make such a fantastic, got to disappear like the cartoons. Just leave a puff of smoke behind, because they will talk to you literally until your buzz goes away. And sadly, with blow, you'll stick around to get the next one, right? Like you'll listen to that jackwagon for another half an hour, because if you don't, you're not going to get the next line. There you go, right? Christy says it's like professional workers. She means S workers. Why not regulate? Oldest profession, good and goods and services. Any thoughts? Here's my thing on crime across the board, right? If there's a victim, then there's most assuredly a crime. If there's a victim, there is most assuredly a crime. Now, if a woman says, I would like to sell the ability for somebody to have sex with me for $750 an hour, and there's a guy that says, I would happily pay $750 an hour to have sex with you, and there's people there to make sure that this guy's not an idiot that's going to beat this girl up, right? And they're going to make sure that nothing's going to happen where, they're going to get disease, or they're going to, all of those things become regulated. I fail to see the victim, right? I don't see the victim. A girl wants to charge $5,000, right? And there are escorts, I promise you, that are $5,000. And if someone wants to pay a girl $5,000 to have sex with her, who's the victim? I'll tell you who it is. Because this isn't legal, goes into the hotel room, and the girl looks down at the guy's junk in a way that he thinks is disrespectful, right? And then that drunk punches her in the face 10 or 12 times, right? Kicks her and essays her. And she's left with the decision of, do I call the cops? Because what I was doing is a crime anyway. And in order to tell the cops about this, I got to admit that I was soliciting for prostitution. And are they going to take it seriously after that anyway? And probably they're not gonna, right? So our regulating this creates a black market that creates the victims. Now, I don't think you should be able to do it on the street. That's right. I think that if this is a venue that you want to go into, it should have to be regulated in some way, right? That's the only way that you can protect the women, right? I lived for a long time in Nevada, and there are brothels in Nevada. If you were to go into one of those brothels and decide to punch a girl in the face, within a couple of seconds, guys are going to come through doors that are going to do bad things to you, right? They're going to protect that girl, and you are going to be in deep trouble. Then you know what's going to happen? The police are going to get called, and that person is going to get prosecuted, right? That's what should be able to happen. So that's kind of my opinion on that. I think if there's no victim, there's no crime. And if a guy wants to smoke weed that he grew in his backyard, who's the victim? Can you find me a victim in that? Because I don't see it. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Now, I'm not advocating for drug use. I can't do it, right? I have a problem that makes it so that I cannot handle doing drugs. I'm bad at it, right? I'm super bad at it. I can't stop once I start. Pet wellness coach. Why, thank you. You look amazing in green. Wow, I tell you what, if somebody joins me today, they're probably sticking around. Oh, should we see how many more I lost? Hold on, we'll check this out. Oh, I got one back. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. Well, thank you. Somebody just saw the light. It's probably just a new subscriber, but it sounded good. I'm so sorry, Christy. She said, my aunt was the poster child for mental health challenges. New pill prescribed basically instead of going through the healing work. She passed too early from complications. I am not a person that says that I don't think, things like Wellbutrin or things like, any of these drugs that we take with the idea of it helping our mental health. I'm not anti-drugs on this stuff. I'm not. However, thank you again. However, I think it's way better if you can get through it without taking chemicals. I think that's the best option. But if the doctors and your care team determine that you need those because there's a chemical imbalance or whatever, I think that's great. But that doesn't mean that you can skip the therapy. You can't skip any of that, right? Especially as a drug addict. You got to eat right? You got to get sleep. You got to exercise. Yeah, you got to do all these things. And the opposite of addiction is connection. The opposite of addiction is connection. I am connected with people. I have people that I care about deeply who are not of the same political persuasion that I am. And in most cases, we were just able to say, you know what, this is a subject matter we're not going to talk about because we're just going to, it's going to cause issues. And then there are other people where we can talk about it for hours. We can. He'll make all the points he makes. I make all the points I make. And occasionally at the end, one of us will go begrudgingly, you might have been right on, this one, right? It's an angle I hadn't thought of. Either way, when we're done with those conversations, guess what? I'm a better person than when we started them. It's amazing what happens when you connect, even with people that don't agree with everything you say. The best thing about this boat is that we are respectful and supportive. Tommy, too. Thank you, Lisa Trimble. If I'm coming across that I am not being kind today, just know that it is not because anybody is saying this person is a better candidate than this person. The people I'm upset with can't understand the concept of we're not going to debate policy today in this chat. It's too raw, right? The emotions of people are too raw. There's a lot of people feeling a lot of pain. I don't want somebody like there are people who have been coming in since this show started, putting MAGA in big letters, and they're getting smacked. I don't want anybody gloating. I don't want anybody bumming out, and I certainly don't want division. What I want for the next 4 years, I want it forever, but for the next 4 years, what I want is for us to, ready? Root for the man they just put into the White House. Because if we root against him, what are we rooting against? Our country? If we want the leader of our country to fail, do you think our country succeeds while the leader of our country fails? If it were Kamala Harris, I would have prayed for her every day, right? That she would be successful in that gig, because what needs to happen is fentanyl needs to stop coming across that border, right? That's what has to happen. I don't have any friends left, right? Thank God I've not lost any family, right? I shouldn't say that. I lost a friend last year that was a brother, somebody that I spent more time with than anybody on the boat ever in terms of trying to help them. And they died of a fentanyl and xylazine trank dope overdose. And it was a tragic story because this individual had serious problems with pain after some horrific accidents and a disease that literally made the vertebrae start to disintegrate, and they had to put bars and stuff through, and there wasn't enough. They weren't giving him pain meds. It's the knee-jerk reaction, right? You give out too much pain meds, you get the whole country addicted. Then they throw a switch and go, nobody gets pain meds anymore. And now people who are legitimately in pain can't get that treated, because I used to go to emergency rooms and lie to people to get free dope. Right? People like me went to pain management clinics, and then as soon as they got home with their prescription, they'd call the doctor and say, somebody just broke the window out in my car, stole my entire prescription. And then the doctor will have to write them another prescription for a full month's worth of dope. They can only do it once, but everybody has done it to them once. What are the odds, right? Doctors get sick of it. And people like me made it so that people who were legitimately in pain started to get screwed over. And my friend went to a methadone clinic because that was the only place he was going to be able to get a painkiller, because methadone is most assuredly a strong painkiller. But they were bringing him up so slowly that, I mean, in his dose, they were taking it up 2 milligrams every 4 days or something like that. He needed a couple of hundred milligrams. So while he was down in the 70 range, he was supplementing it with dope from the street. And I prayed about it and prayed about it. And oh boy, oh boy. And Hummingbird, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. 10 memberships, people. Thanks, Lisa Trimble, for all the support always. I really appreciate you. And Hummingbird is turning a bunch of people green. I love it when that happens. I really do. I love it when that happens. So hold on one second. Sorry, people. This one is personal. Do 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 do. Sorry, folks. I appreciate your patience with me. All right, we're good. We're good. As it turns out, somebody already did it for me. I love that. I love that. Hot sauce packets. People are turning green. You know what, Ann Hummingbird? You are a very kind person. Tears for breakfast. Oh, I'm going to pass. I'm going with eggs and bacon. Maybe a little bit of cereal. I bought some really good stuff, man. Lisa Pritchard says, Tommy, sorry to jump in, but is Trump going to pardon Diddy? No, you have a better chance of seeing God in sunglasses than anybody partying Diddy. I assure you that man is not getting pardoned. I assure you. Del Plummer believes nothing anymore. Well, that sucks. So you don't believe that 5 million more people voted for the person that got elected? That's a bummer. It really is. It's going to make the next 4 years really hard on you. DS Kitty, love this boat. By the way, I probably just lost another subscriber, which is a bummer because I'm not celebrating the fact that any of you are bummed out. I'm just going through the fact that I've been doing this forever. And every single election, the world's going to end. And I got news for you. The last time people screamed the world was going to end, it didn't, right? And we had a damn epidemic in the middle of that presidency, and we're all still here, right? The world continues. The world continues. I promise it's always going to continue, right? Until it doesn't. But when it doesn't, it's not going to be because of an election. I promise it's not. DS Kitty, this boat loves you too. Analytical Blarney says, don't feel powerless in a nation where you're still powerful in self. I love that. Your families and communities, etc. The change we want to see, despite the leader, we the people can form a more perfect union. Wow, what a great comment. Wow, what a great comment. We absolutely can agree to disagree. My best friend on planet Earth is not of the same political persuasion that I am. And we are blessed that the two of us can talk about this ad nauseum, right? He will recommend books that I read. I will read them. I will recommend books that he reads. He will read them. And we will have a really decent conversation. I do believe, by the way, if you didn't vote, you shouldn't be able to bitch. I'm sorry. I think if you didn't vote, then you should shut up, right? Because you had an opportunity to go and at least have your voice heard. If you didn't do it, I'm always shocked by people that say, I didn't vote. Boy, they screwed up getting this person. Why didn't you vote? By the way, if my mods accidentally make a mistake today, we're going to err on that side. I promise we're going to err on that side. Oh my God, Sandykins. You know what? I don't know if you know just how blessed you are. My God in heaven. Thank you, Analytical Blarney, for the never-ending support. I really do appreciate you. Sandikin says, my brother was Narcaned a bunch of times and he was lucky it worked until it didn't. Oh, God, I didn't see that. So you mean he was brought back a bunch of times by Narcan? I thought you meant he had been hit. It takes 12, 13 times sometimes, 12 or 13 doses of Narcan. Yet again, another person that we lost to what's coming across the border. It's what's coming across the border, right? Whatever anyone wants to say about any of this and about, this being a hustle or that being a hustle or, this has all been a scam, whatever. The number one cause of death in this country is fentanyl. No matter who's in office, the number one cause of death in this country is overdose from drugs that are coming across that border. That's it. That's it. So my hope is that at this time, 4 years from now, the number one cause of death in this country isn't going to be overdose. That's my hope, right? That is what I want more than anything else. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm not, I don't know what that is. Humble and Kind says, a friend of mine who lives here, but is Canadian, tells me in Canada, I would pass Starbucks and actually love McDonald's coffee over there. I looked at her like, that's nuts. You know what's crazy? It'll bum me out, but you know what's crazy? They win more blind taste tests for coffee than any other coffee. That is an absolute fact. That is an absolute fact. And I know that that's a shocker, but it is. Damn it all to hell. Hold on a second. Boy, do I hate the mouse. For real. I hate the mouse. We did lose Prince because he thought he was taking Percocet 30s, and there aren't any Percocet 30s, right? Unless you got them at a pharmacy with your friggin' name on them, I assure you, the dope on the street, it may say M30 on it. It's not a Percocet 30, right? It's either nitazines, right? Phytonitazines, isonitazines, or it's going to be fentanyl. Either way, it's going to be mixed with xylazine, which is a tranquilizer used on horses and cows, right? The combo of the two is one of the most dangerous substances that anyone has ever ingested intentionally, right? Right next to, right after like crocodile, there's just very few drugs that are uglier than what we're doing right now in this country, right? With this stuff that they're calling trank. And I know that every time we talk about it, I'll get emails from people that say, why would anyone do that? You think they got a choice? Honestly, when you're addicted to opiates and the supply changes, right? I've been there. I've absolutely been there. All of a sudden the dope gets 5 times stronger, or all of a sudden the dope gets so weak that you got to do 6 times what you were doing to get the same effect. It happens constantly. This time it changed out for a completely different drug, right? There's not even any H left, right? Very little of it. And I'll get emails today from people that'll say, I'm doing it. Well, you're probably not. Honestly, you should check, get some fent test strips and check. Because a lot of what they do is they make fugazi, right? They make something that is black and sticky so that it looks like tar. Very often, watch them do it. Like take a 2-liter Coca-Cola and boil it. Get everything out of there and you get this like syrupy, disgusting crap. And then they'll hit it with vinegar so that it smells like tar. And then they mix in a bunch of powdered fent, right? And this becomes the dope. The problem is when you take powder and you mix it into this stuff and you start doing this, there's going to be a part over here, doesn't have anything in it. Right? The guy's going to buy dope. He's going to cook it up. He's going to be like, that didn't do anything. Going to get out another bag. Unfortunately, the reason he got nothing is because someone else is going to get a shot that's going to turn their lights off that fast. And if the person's got Narcan there, it's still going to turn their lights off this fast. This is how somebody like George Floyd could have 3 times the amount of fentanyl in a system without it killing you. People made a big deal about it was probably his tolerance. No, it's probably just that he took one of these pills that had 3 times the lethal amount in it. And, there's a lot of different ways. Any way you shake it, we're dealing with a substance that has rendered our drug supply absolutely toxic. And if you are listening to me and you think, well, I don't do opiates anyway. I don't do opiates. The only thing I do is cocaine. You know how many people died last year snorting cocaine and died from fent? 5 in one family or in one apartment. What's the name of the drug that is stronger than fentanyl? Iso or phytonitazines or nitazines? Everybody seems to pronounce it differently. And to be honest, I don't know how it's pronounced because I don't know that I've ever seen anybody who's an actual expert on this stuff. We started reporting on this when there had been one bust in the United States, and it was in Salt Lake City, and it was for someone who was manufacturing it allegedly for personal use. Since then, there's not one state in the US that this has not been found in, right? Fentanyl is not the zombie drug Del Plummer. The zombie drug is what they call trank. Now, one of the ingredients is absolutely fent. The other ingredient is a tranquilizer, right? That's why they call it trank. They will get the cheapest tranquilizer that they can get, right? So they are buying xylazine, which is they get from pharmacists. This is it was built for equine, right, or bovine. So this is for cows and horses. It's not meant to be ingested by human beings. And the stuff that you see where the people are doing this number, that's what it is. All of the fentanyl that ends up here, I heard, is manufactured in that country. Yes, well, a good deal of it is, right? A great deal of it is. And at one time, you probably could have said, yeah, all of it's coming from there. However, this is a free market economy. The entire world is. And most assuredly, the drug market is. So there's a demand for really, really strong opiates or opioids, because they're synthetic, in this country, right? There's a huge one. So the people from India, yeah, they're making it now too and sending it over here. So is North Korea. There are other bad actors who are entering the game, right? And why not? You know, we're buying this crap in railway car size containers, right? The amount of this stuff that we're buying, the largest bust in history happened this year for fent. And it happened in Arizona. The amount of stuff that's coming across the border, I mean, it's literally tons. 2 milligrams will kill you, right? But we got thousands of pounds, in some cases, metric tons, right? And the scariest thing to me is the proof is in the pudding, right? Proof's in the pudding. I used to fart around a little bit smuggling drugs. It was part of something that I did as a criminal. I wouldn't smuggle a pill if I could smuggle powder, right? I wouldn't. Yeah, a hell of a lot easier to smuggle powder. You can put it into different shapes. You can line the bottoms. Pills are hard to deal with, right? They make noise. They shake. They're hard to deal with. So since pill presses are so damn easy, right? Why not take the powder into the United States, get a pill press and make the stuff there, right? And my thought process on this, there's no proof to this. This is my thought process on this, is that they don't want the street dealers cutting it. Feel me? You send this stuff across in powder and the guy gets 2 pounds, right? He's not going to just press it into pills because he could put a pound of cut on it. And instead of making, 500 pills, he could make 750 pills. And then that 250, you're right in his pocket because everybody's only expecting that's not happening. They want the drugs getting to the end user at the strength it's at now. Every time we catch a batch coming across the border, it's a little bit stronger than the previous batch. I got news for you. If your product kills the end user, you make it weaker. I promise you, drug dealers have been doing that since the beginning of time. They like one overdose. They do. Drug dealers, especially big cities or whatever, they want one overdose. There was a guy in the federal prison system who we weren't friends, but I knew who he was. And he was in there because as a heroin dealer, dealing in 4 states in the Northeast, one of the things he used to do is he would put rat poisoning in one of the bindles, right? One of them was going to kill the person that did it. It was designed that way because the stamp on the package would have it's literally a stamp, right? That stamp is there for no other reason than to advertise the name of the product, right? So it'll say Red Devil, and a guy will say, I want that Red Devil dope. Why? Because it killed somebody. Obviously, it's strong, and I want it to last in my system as long as possible. So I want that stuff that killed people. As insane as that sounds, that's exactly how it goes down. Lisa Trimble, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. So cutting fentanyl, somebody just said you can't cut fentanyl. You can. It's really hard. It's so hard that it's almost pointless. And the reason is, you see this? Right? This is a rescue inhaler. Inside this is 200 metered inhalations, right? How is it that the same amount of medicine comes out in every one? What if all the stuff's at the bottom? Because in suspension, perfectly in suspension, the same amount of stuff is going to come out of every spray. You can't do that with fent. So because of how small the amount is, if you have a half an ounce of something and you're cutting a quarter ounce of something into it, what if you have 11 kilos, right? And you're going to cut a quarter ounce into 11 kilos. How are you going to get something this big to touch the entire 2.2 pounds? Well, simply put, you're not, right? It's not possible. So what's going to happen instead? Thanks again, Lisa Trimble. What's going to happen instead is you're going to have hot spots. You're going to have parts of that where there's a ton of dope. And you're going to have parts of it where there isn't any dope. So you're going to have people pissed off and you're going to have people dying. And that's what's happening. Kerry Wilson says, what happened to the Green Acres song? Well, I don't know. I got kind of upset after a while. I had lost a girlfriend, and she was very much a part of that, the Green Acres thing, because we had sort of moved to Bug Tussle, Tennessee. But I got to bring it back. It is one of my favorite things. Not exactly sure how I got off it, but I did. Can't stay. Had to do an appointment. Just stopped by to express love and support for the boat. Love that. Speaking of love and support for the boat, have a great day, Krista Melinda, and thank you for fighting the good fight. Our Narcan almost never does work. You're right. Sadly, we are to the point now where Narcan doesn't get the job done, Pet Wellness Center says. It doesn't get it done in one shot, right? It just simply doesn't. So you have to usually administer a second or a third or a fourth. That's a problem. It's a problem. Most people don't carry enough of that, right? And most people just don't. Nick, I love you, my brother. This is I Am the Noise Operator, one of my favorite people on YouTube. One of my favorite people, period, but definitely one of my favorite people on YouTube. And living proof, no offense, my brother, right? Because you are one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. No joke. However, if you had asked me 2 years ago, I would not have answered it that way. In fact, I thought he was one of the angriest people I ever met. And maybe he was. But you know something? He's now one of the kindest people and certainly a great representation of this boat. Yes, Tracy, sometimes it does need to be said, right? Sometimes the kind things need to be said more often than not. Question, Tommy, how close do you honestly think Diddy is to Jay-Z? I heard Beyonce is removing all of her finances away from him. Yeah, well, I heard that too. I have absolutely heard that she has been going out of her way to separate all of their finances, right? That's not a good sign. Most of us have been in fights, right? We've had significant others in divorces. If your significant other starts separating her money from yours or his money from yours, that's a problem. Now, how close are the two of them? According to Diddy, the only person that can call him Sean is his mother, right? And Jay-Z. You could say maybe that's just because they're both named Sean, which could be. But apparently, Jay-Z only lets Diddy call him. So they're very close, or certainly they were. No one is very close anymore. Hello, Beryl Herrera. Nobody seems to be CKM. We're not doing that here. Please, somebody remove that. Don't remove her. Just remove the comment. We're not doing the gloat on this CKM. There are people here that are not happy that Trump was elected president. And we're not beating on anybody. We're not taking victory laps, nor are we screaming and gnashing our teeth. You know, the boat's going to be the boat. The sun's going to keep coming up, I promise. I promise it is. But we're not going to, and I'm not picking on you. It's just not something we can have. Who manufactures Narcan? You know something? Thanks, Tampa B. Tampa B has just been so consistently one of the kindest people I've ever met. And it's just, honestly, I've also stayed with Tampa B, one of the great hostesses of all time. Who manufactures Narcan? USA? Is that the only drug that helps? Trying to understand. It is an antidote, right? The way that opiates work is they attach themselves to a receptor inside your brain that makes a chemical go out, and that chemical is what you're getting high on, right? So it's like a key, or like, think of it like a faucet. You put the drug in, and that's what turns on the faucet. And it does it by attaching itself to the MU receptor. Fentanyl comes in, smacks everything off of the receptor. Off. Now, this stuff is so friggin' strong that you can Narcan somebody, right? And they come back and they go, oh man. And the ambulance driver goes, all right, we need to get you to a hospital. Well, they're dope sick. You understand? They just kicked all of the dope off of their receptors. Instantly sick. Precipitative withdrawal. Instantly. Right? End of the world. Screaming. We need to get you to a hospital. I'm not going to a hospital because the guy wants to fix. He wants the pain to go away. Doesn't matter. 30 minutes later, that's going to start wearing off and the fent ain't going to be gone. With heroin, that wasn't an issue. With fent, it is. You got to Narcan the person. You wait about 30, 40 minutes. They start going back out. You got to Narcan them again. But they're not going to go to the hospital for that. They're going to sign what's called an AMA, against medical advice. They're junkies, right? And I'm not saying that disrespectfully. I'm a junkie, right? But they're going to sign an against medical advice, AMA. Sign the form, walk the hell out of the ambulance, the hospital, whatever. I was that dude. I'm sick. I'm not hanging out here. First time I got cotton fever. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but you use cotton. You throw in the spoon so that you don't get sediment inside the needle. The cotton acts as a filter. Sometimes small pieces of that cotton will get inside the syringe. And for whatever reason, cotton does not really like your bloodstream. And when you get it in there, incredible things happen. It's honestly, I'm like, my skin's crawling thinking about it. But you get sick. You feel like you're dope sick. You get hot, cold. It's one of the worst things that's ever happened. I did not know, right? I did not know. You're damn right. Mach, no drug should be as strong as this. It shouldn't. Thank you, Jay Rambo. You make the boat a better place. You really do. Lacey Silver, it can really be 7 months. Good God. You know, I knew I was going to find, thank you, Lacey Silver. I knew I was going to find somebody that was, had been there. Yee, right? Cotton fever is horrible. And I didn't know anything. I wasn't a junkie that had somebody bringing me up and getting me hip to all this stuff. I didn't have that. So I drove to the hospital. Right. And said, I'm dying, something's going on. And they looked at me and the guy was like, you're obviously a drug addict. I had track marks all up and down my arms. I was like, yeah, no, but I fixed, right? I can't be dope sick. I just fixed. And he was like, oh, what do you use as a filter? Cotton? He's like, yeah, you probably have cotton fever. You don't get it a second time. I promise you that. I stopped using cotton. That is never going to happen again. I'll find a different way. I am not going to go through that again. But it was god awful. It really was. It was god awful. You love the idea of shaking snow off the capel bogs. Carol, I'm not sure where that apple boughs. There we go. There we go. You love shaking snow off the apple boughs. That just sounds Christmassy, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound lovely? I don't have any of those anymore. I do, however, have 4 fruit trees on the property. Pretty fired up about it, too. I grow the best limes you've ever seen. And I also grow something called a Mexican lime, which is even smaller, and they are incredible. I have been clean. 9 years. So far, 9 years. Now, full disclosure, harm reduction clean. Go ahead and send me all the emails you want. I am off heroin for 9 years, right? I relapsed on Valium. I ate some Valium and drank on top of it, and I did it to catch a buzz. I didn't do it. I did it to catch a buzz. It was a relapse. I eat gummies to go to sleep. And I take Suboxone every morning. Now, I take a ludicrously small amount of Suboxone. I really do. I take a very, in fact, I guarantee there's nobody here taking less. Avina Sativa says, I thought it was sepsis. You thought that cotton fever was sepsis? Or you just, the thing with cotton fever is it's going to go away, right? Whereas sepsis isn't going to. But cotton fever will go away. In fact, I'm not going to say that. It would be bad, something bad to say here. But you can make it go away. What was the vitamin people used to come down from a bad LSD trip? I don't know. I know that there's a lot that's made about vitamin B and LSD. Right? That's there's a lot of people that that believe that as soon as you take LSD, the second you take it, you drink orange juice, or you want to put vitamin C into your body. It's supposed to kick it in, and it's supposed to make coming as it's leaving your system easier. I'm not sure if that's what you mean, because there's nothing. I mean, there isn't a vitamin that will help you with a bad trip. There's nothing that will help you with a bad trip other than time, right? It's a very, very strong drug, right? Really strong. It's what we like to call a dissociative drugs, right? Dissociative drugs, or what addicts usually call trip drugs. Like the dude was tripping. You hear that, dude's tripping. Because high is different, right? High, a person can talk to you, they can function. Tripping, they're disassociating from reality or not reality. And you kind of spend your time in the middle of it trying to figure out if what's going on around you is real. And you end up seeing visuals of tracers. It's a very, very unusual drug. But if it goes bad and you start panicking, it's very hard to sort of take that out. Usually it's just a matter of time. You can't fall asleep on it. You absolutely can't fall asleep on it. So long and ugly process to get through a bad trip. What I usually do is tell people that this is a substance you took, right? You are a human being. Everything is all right. You just took a really, really bad substance, right? The macrolide lime, Benito, that may be the same thing. I'm not sure. I should probably research and find out what the real name of it is. Around here, they just call them Mexican limes. A little bit smaller and super, like they punch you. One slice of it is like eating an entire lime. It's just got, like, I don't think you could put it in a Corona. Like, it's really, really limey. I'm told that when it comes to tranq, most first responders don't know it could require many doses of Narcan too, so they don't keep trying when the first one doesn't work. They're getting better, right? They're getting better. Unfortunately, that a lot of the overdoses that we're seeing on tranq, when they get out there, the person may not be overdosing on the painkiller. The person might be overdosing on the benzo or the tranquilizer. And if they're overdosing on the tranquilizer, the Narcan's not going to help them. Now, if you're hearing my voice, right, and you think the person may be on, give them the Narcan. Give them Narcan. If you're not on anything and you take Narcan, it ain't going to kill you. It's not going to do anything to you, right? So give them Narcan, right? Always err on the side of, I think that what this person is doing is overdosing on an opiate, and give them some friggin' Narcan. However, I might not do it. I know first responders are getting a lot better. There's also states all across the union that have made it a lot easier to get Narcan. You can walk into needle exchange programs and they'll give it to people. They want people to have it. The city I used to live in had telephone poles with big white things on it that said overdose kits. And you could open it up and there was Narcan in there. There was also fentanyl test strips so that you could take this and you could, like a litmus paper that you would rub on your drug. And if it turns a certain color, it has fentanyl in it. And it's keeping people from having to go down that route, right? Yeah. Why do Hollywood people on TV order hot water with lemon? I don't know. I would. I like drinking. Water with lemon in it. I've never done it hot. I don't. Do I know much about ayahuasca? I assume, right? That's what you. The mind-bending drug of the. I'm sorry. It's a long joke with me and Johnny Scoville. Yes, I'm familiar with it. It is also a dissociative drug. By most accounts, it is the most dissociative drug on earth. Very, very different than your average trip drug, to the point that there are a great many people on planet Earth that think that this is something that is designed to help you rewire your brain, very much like people do with psilocybin, which is what's in mushrooms. But this is a much more profound effect. Carol Carr says ayahuasca scares me. Yeah, I don't blame you. You can do DMT, which is kind of a derivative or an analog kind of a thing. So it will give you kind of an idea of how strong that the real deal is. I have done DMT. I have not. Ayahuasca is one that I don't have any desire whatsoever to do. Now, I will be really honest and tell you that there is a chance that we did it. There's a really good chance that my brother and we got absolutely wrecked on liquid anyway, that a guy had, and we did something that scared the ever-loving crap out of us, but I couldn't tell you what it was. And it was one of those things, and the reason you go, how's that pop? Well, because nobody talked about this stuff in 1985. You know what I mean? Like, this wasn't so much a part of society that if you go ayahuasca, most people know what you're talking about. In 1985, if you said that, in fact, the first time I ever saw it, a reference to it, was like 86 or 87. And it was on High Times magazine, and on the front cover, it said ayahuasca, the mind-bending drug of the Amazon. That was the article. And I remember calling Johnny Scoville, who lived in a different city, and said, you need to go get High Times and read this article and tell me if that's the crap we did. So, but who knows? Who knows? I don't do disassociative drugs anymore. The exception to that rule would be, I am a proponent of psilocybin. I believe wholeheartedly that it can rewire the dome. I believe that, and I don't mean that you eat 3 grams and go see, a Pink Floyd concert. When you come home, everything will be great. I mean, very much guided through a process of, this is something that I'm struggling with and I'm going to work on, because disassociative drugs very often remove your ego, right? It removes your ego. And it's amazing what happens when the ego gets stripped away from somebody. I mean, really odd, right? It's my mailman. Paula D. Penley, thank you. We probably all do. You know what I mean? We probably all do. Have I heard of what are curing PTSD? Delics. I don't know what that is. I'm all about anything that's treating or curing PTSD. Starlight Selenite says ayahuasca and psilocybin are very similar. Again, I've done a lot of psilocybin. I mean, a ton of it. And I did a lot of LSD. I did a lot of psychedelics. But the ayahuasca thing, most people say that you're not going to get it, this side of South America, that you pretty much got to go down there if you're going to do that. I don't know what I did with Johnny. It was a trip drug, right? So they're all kind of similar. It was just so much stronger than any shrooms I had ever done. And we drank it and we didn't eat it. They need to strip Diddy's ego. You know what? Allegedly, this is one of the drugs that they actually talked about him using. And I didn't believe it. But if you read it, a bunch of people say that, when they're going through the list about the pink blow and he liked, the cocaine, and he was into the pills and ecstasy, and then boom, mushrooms. And I was like, man, didn't see that coming. I really didn't. But maybe. Candy's life. You are loved and you matter. I love that. It's the truth. It's the truth. Well, Loren. Isn't ayahuasca from frogs? It is not, but I understand exactly what you're asking, because there is a frog that emits a poison of sorts that can cause people to hallucinate. right? Starlight, it was not. I've done PCP. That is a drug I've tried, and it is a dissociative drug, but there are body feels with that, right? You ever notice that people all get naked when they do that? It's because your temperature raises in a way that you cannot imagine. I mean, you get hot, right? Really hot. Yeah, PCP can make you trip bad. PCP has something in it that is a lot different than everything else, though. And what it has is the ability to kill pain, right? It has the ability to kill pain, Diddy. That is funny, right? It would really be fantastic, too, if, right? Wouldn't you like to be able to just give people crap? Dumb frog liquor. Sharon Thompson, love to you all. Have a great day. Thank you for stopping by. Comment, just tried McDonald's iced coffee a week ago, and it was actually way better than it was expected. I'm telling you right now, here's what. You can hate Maca. That was from my Aussie friends, right? Maca. McDonald's, you can hate McDonald's. However, what McDonald's is best at, what they are better at than anybody on planet Earth, is making sure that a cheeseburger in Austin, Texas tastes exactly the same as a cheeseburger in New Hampshire. And their coffee across the board will taste the same everywhere you go. And in a blind taste test, look it up, see if I'm lying. They do a blind taste test every year for all of the different places out there, like Starbucks, all of them that sell coffee. Now, obviously, you have to compare apples to apples. So it's just their regular coffee. McDonald's kills them every year. And I guess it shouldn't surprise us, right? They're pretty damn good at it. You may not like them, but they're damn good at what they do, man. Cane toads, you lick their backs, says Del Plummer. I've never done the frog thing. I'm not surprised by that, humble and kind. I'm really not. They're called cane toads, apparently. I did not know this. Thank you. Where are they from? Your favorite concert, Bob Marley, 76 in Amsterdam. So fun on mushrooms. TC, you saw Bob Marley. Wow, I'm jealous of that. Wow, am I jealous of that? Wow, am I jealous of that? Who is that handsome man walking behind me? I don't have a handsome man. Oh, do you mean up on the wall? Yeah, I don't know. My brother is the only other person around here, and yeah, he looks a lot like me. Well, yuck, I am never going to lick the back of a frog. TC, would you kiss one if you thought it was going to turn into a prince? Doesn't that work? My bro. Yeah, my bro is, he looks so much like me that if you're saying my brother is handsome, I'll take it, right? Johnny walked by, didn't even see him walk by. How funny is that? I did not even see him walk by. Cane toads are a curse from QLD. I'll be damned. I remember the first time I heard about the frog, and you got to get it pissed off, right? Like, you got to scare the frog. Then it's going to excrete this stuff. So I'm like, how bad do you want to buzz? Right? Yeah, you got to scare the frog and then lick the back of it. I'm good. I'm good. I'm probably not going to go the lick a frog route. I don't like frogs. Like when little kids played with frogs and stuff, I didn't do that. Oh, this is the handsome guy you're referring to. Yeah, that's Johnny Scoville. That is the Johnny Scoville. Grateful Glow says, Tommy, can I ask what part of the country you are from? You remind me kind of a Midwestern fellow. Well, I'll be damned. I'll be damned. I am not from the Midwest. Well, I'll be damned. I am from the Northeast. I am from New England. So those two states up there that kind of look like they're doing a 69? I'm on the, I grew up in one of those. I knew it was the wildly handsome Johnny Scoville. Why, thank you. I really appreciate that. Johnny, you're getting all kinds of shout outs. So just thought I'd share that with you. Twins mom says, I take Norco just this year. They've started giving me Narcan just in case. Good. They're not giving you Narcan, by the way. They're not giving you Narcan because they think that you're going to overdose on Norcos. They're giving you Narcan because they assume that most people who are taking pain meds from a pain specialist are probably supplementing it with a little dope from the street. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just keeping it real. And the Narcan is there so that if you are buying something from the street, then you get that shot. Am I still sober, Tommy? I guess it depends on how you define the word sober. I have not done heroin ever since I quit doing heroin, which was my drug of choice that I did every single day for 30 years. Del Plummer, I was a skier professionally. I'm a big fan of snow. Used to do, if you look long and hard enough, there's probably a thumbnail of me doing a backflip on skis. It's out there somewhere. I take Suboxone. There are people for whom that means I'm not sober. I'm not huge on saying that person's sober, that person's not, that person's sober, that person's not. I'm going to leave God for that, right? Because that's not my deal. What I do is I never, ever had a problem drinking. So I drink, I don't know, 8 beers a year, right? 10 beers a year. So there are people who will say you're not sober, right? I also eat cannabis gummies to go to sleep. So I take Suboxone every morning and I take cannabis gummies to go to sleep almost every night. Not every night, but almost every night. And so some people don't want to, they don't want me calling myself sober. Suboxone, right? Suboxone is a drug that is an agonist antagonist. This is not an opiate, but it makes your body believe it is. And it acts very much like an opiate. And it makes it so that if you take it in the morning, you will not feel any cravings for the entire day. And it has saved the lives of so many people. Connie, for instance, saved her life. An increase has happened with medical marijuana. They started out selling THC levels at about 10. 3 years later, the THC levels are in their 80s and 90s because customers wanted it stronger. Do you think it's because customers want it stronger? Or do you think that it's because that's just kind of who we are, right? There's competitions and awards that they're giving out, big trophies and plaques for who's making the strongest cannabis. So I think that it may be the drive, right? I don't know that maybe I don't know. I'm not a pot smoker, but maybe that's the thing. I feel like they're all just trying to, you know what I mean? You're all just trying to. You mean classic drugs. I do not do cocaine. I don't do heroin. What I do is I take Suboxone every single day, and almost maybe 25 days a month. I take a few days off of gummies every month so that I'm trying not to build a tolerance up where I have to take more than one. I don't want that ever to happen. So I back off a couple of times, and I take it not because I can't go to sleep, but because I tried every drug on planet Earth to try to figure out a way to literally every drug on Earth to try to not have nightmares from prison. I saw some pretty horrific crap. I've done shows on it. The show's called "I Watched Somebody Get Killed and I Did Nothing." That might be the name of it. It's a terrible nightmare. The gummies make those stop, and I fought them for years because I didn't want to have to come on here and tell people I was doing it. And I'm not going to BS you, right? So, and then I said one day, well, why am I doing this, right? If this thing can help me, no offense, but F off to the world, right? If this can help me, then I'm good to go. Lucinda R., good to see you, my friend. Lucinda says, withdrawals from Xanax does mash you up. It can kill you. Everybody hear that? Everybody hear that? Would this help you come off of 16 years of Xanax? It would not. I'm sorry. It's not the right kind of drug for that. If, however, you have been taking Xanax for 16 years, you need to talk to a doctor before you quit. Now, I assume you're not buying these on the street. Perhaps you are. If you are getting these from a doctor, you need to be able to say, we need to start backing off. If you don't mind, how much are they giving you daily? Are you taking bars? Are you taking 3 or 4 milligrams a day? Or are you taking half milligrams a couple of times a day? Whatever you are taking, you need to start backing off. The nice thing about, if you're trying to get off it, you have to do it slowly. The nice thing about benzodiazepines is that there's a crap load of them. right? So you can, once you start getting down to a point where the Xanax is really, really low, you can switch to a less strong version and start that route. You're taking 2.5 milligrams a day. Okay. Now, I'm not a doctor, right? Not a doctor. Don't play one on TV. I don't give out medical advice. I'm a drug addict. What I will tell you, though, what I will tell you, though, is number one, this stuff can kill you quitting cold turkey. So don't do it without the help of a doctor, right? Of a doctor. But I will say that 2.5 milligrams a day isn't the end of the world. I know people that I worked with people who took twice as much as that and have managed to come off. You need to do it professionally, and you need to do it with a plan so that you don't get seizures. Diana Smith says, I quit Xanax cold turkey and ended up in the hospital. And you're lucky you're still with us, hon. You really are. This causes so many people to die. I did cold turkey with the Wellbutrin and it felt fine. That's because bupropion, right? Bupropion, again, not a doctor, I'm a drug addict. But bupropion is a drug I'm very familiar with, Wellbutrin. You should not quit Wellbutrin cold turkey either. You shouldn't. But it's not going to kill you. I promise. It's not a drug that's going to kill you if you quit taking it. Xanax can kill you if you quit taking it. All benzos are like alcohol in a pill. In fact, if you go into a prison and you say, I drink 30 beers every single day and a half a fifth of vodka, they can't just let you quit or you will get seizures and you will die. Acute alcohol withdrawal is the second leading cause of death in county jails, right? People unaliving themselves are number one. Judy says, humble. I've taken Xanax for 30 years and still have an increased dosage. I have a very bad anxiety and I'm thankful for for a medication that works. If you have not increased your dose in 30 years, I think that's fantastic. And it's also rare. I would probably go out on a limb and say that without a shadow of a doubt, Judy, you will be dependent on this substance because you've been taking it for 30 years. However, as crazy as this is going to sound to a lot of people, I doubt you're addicted to it. No, that sounds really stupid. You have to take it. You're addicted, right? No, not really. But this is just me. People don't go by what my body accepts. No, it is a miracle. It's a miracle that you've been able to go 30 years without increasing your dosage. Most people cannot do that. Most people can't. Most people are going to increase the dosage because we're chasing the buzz. We're chasing the buzz. You're not. What you're doing is you're taking a tranquilizer to deal with anxiety, which is what it is designed for, right? I'm betting you don't drink on it, right? I'm betting you don't take 4 or 5 if it's been a real bitch of a Saturday, right? You're doing what you're supposed to do. I don't have any trouble with anybody who's taking medications the way they're supposed to do it, right? Oh, Diddy, they sure do. Oh, they sure do. Not for everybody, by the way. Not for everybody, by the way. But I went through horrific ringing in your ears. It does go away, by the way. If you're still dealing with it, it goes away. I promise it does. It did for me more than once. No buzz for you, Lucinda. Just wanted to sleep. Did you have to continue to raise the amount over that in order to do that? I've only increased my dose once in the last 16 years. Was on 1.5 doses for 8 years. So you were taking, now I don't want to be a dickhead and I'm not a doctor. I'm not. But as a public speaker, if I walk in and say, I can't go on stage anymore, I can instantly get these, right? And I used to, not because I wanted to take Xanax, but because it was really easy to trade for other stuff, right? Usually the stuff I needed. So I would get prescriptions of it. But 1.5 milligrams, that's a strong dose to start a woman out. In my humble opinion, I'm not a doctor, but getting high, my doctor started me out. I think I started on, I did a 0.5 milligram. They were 1/4 milligrams. They were little blue footballs, 1/4 milligrams. I can't remember how many I took, but 1.5 sounds high. But it doesn't sound like that's a massive increase. However, it is an increase. And increases across the board, this is something that more often than not, right, shows where we're at. For instance, Judy, 30 years without an increase even in tolerance is amazing, right? But tolerance is a sign. It is one of the symptoms of addiction. Did you know that? No joke. Tolerance is a symptom of addiction. Those of us who are addicts, we're trying to, right? We are always sort of moving in that direction. I can't tell you at all why it causes ringing. I don't think it's tinnitus, right? And the reason I say that is when my ears were ringing and I was kicking the doctor and said, I think I have tinnitus. And the doctor didn't say, because I was in the feds, the doctor didn't say, no, doesn't. Yeah. The doctor said, okay, well, then we were going to do all kinds of tests for, we had to do all kinds of tests. And as it turns out, I did not have tinnitus in any way, shape, or form. Tommy, I forget. We also listened to him. David, I'm blocking you because you're a dick. Seriously, anybody that goes, Tommy, right? Who are you? Do I know you? Sorry, it's obnoxious. It really is. You won't hear this for a while, but that's obnoxious. What's that? Really? Tommy. It's obnoxious. It really is. It's not nice. Like I'm a fool, right? Is that what we're doing here? Like it's a kid. You're just so, come on. Tommy. David. I won't have to deal with you anymore. And that is a blessing. All right, people. I am, why? Pain pills put you in pain. They don't put you in pain until you stop taking them, right? When you stop taking pain pills, they put you in pain. When you're taking pain pills, they absolutely do not cause pain. They will remove all pain. They're excellent at what they do. Unfortunately, for people like me, they also take care of spiritual and emotional pain, which is why I was taking them. I mean, I started taking them because something was broken, or I started taking it because I had an injury from skiing, and I was always injured. But I was taking that stuff because I had pain that couldn't be treated. You know what? Incognito at unknown says, do you think Diddy's unfortunately timed arrest and accusations shook up a lot of people and made them look at whether they were going to vote more liberally or more conservatively? I don't in any way. Let me ask you, did the Diddy case influence how you wanted to vote? Did the Diddy case make you think I'm going to lean left or I'm going to lean right? If the Diddy case changed how you voted, right? Put a 2 in the chat. If it did not affect how you voted, put a 3. I understand what you're saying because it seems like it could have been a psych op. Now, if the idea had been probably to keep people away, like maybe people were so glued to computers that they just blew off voting or blew off mailing in votes or any of those things. But I know the timing is odd, right? I know the timing is odd, but November of last year, Cassie Ventura filed the lawsuit. At that moment, the feds started to build their case. I think it just kind of came down for time, how it came down. It certainly didn't affect how I vote. Yeah, Humble and Kind says, I don't judge nobody, but I can understand, grasp, if that makes sense. Sheesh. As I can't bring myself to come off or want to come off Xanax out of fear, really. You know what? Good for you, right? Seriously, good for you to say that out loud. Huh? Do you feel any better after saying that out loud? God, I would. I'm not kidding. Boy, would I. That's courageous, right? Now, my question is, right? And I want you to think about this. Don't answer it now. Maybe even do a little journaling on such things, huh? Right? But see if you can articulate why you want to come off of it, right? I want you to explain to yourself, and then maybe to at least one other person why you want to quit this, right? There's a lot of people who find the lifeboat, right? I get people who are like, I got to get off these pain meds. And then I start talking to these people and I said, I've been more than happy to help you with that, right? We definitely want to, what do you want to pay? What started this? You were out partying or whatever. No, I broke my back in a car wreck. And you're like, oh, damn. And the pain's gone? No, the pain's horrible. Well, then why are we quitting? Right? Why do you want to get off a substance that relieves your pain? Because we here talk about getting sober. Listen, if this stuff's messing up your life, if your quality of life is not where it ought to be because of substances, you need to quit. But if anxiety is a reality in your life, it's probably going to be a reality in your life when the substances are out of your life. And do you have a plan for that? Right? Do you have a plan for that? I want to go over one thing real quick on the Diddy stuff before I end this today, right? Just a real quick thing. Sometimes people, right? Sometimes, with all due respect, we got to use our brains a little bit more. For instance, there is a great rumor going around that the guy sitting in jail isn't Diddy, right? The guy sitting in jail isn't Diddy, that they're going to pay somebody to be a body double so that he can go free. What do you pay a guy to go to prison for the rest of his life? How do you cut that deal? You think that there's somebody out there that is willing to go to prison as a chomo for the rest of his life? How much do you have to pay for that? I don't think that's possible, folks, right? It's incredulous. There's no chance that someone out there is going to, oh Lord, nothing like people that just get here, right? Damn it all to hell. Random question. Tommy, I am always trying to figure out what color your eyes are. My eyes are blue. The salted licorice was funny, wasn't it? This stuff's terrible. Spanky, it was making me laugh. My kid was so funny in that. I can't wait to see him have to do the fish. Starlight says, I wonder if the younger generation doesn't vote. I have no idea, but I do know a lot of younger people don't have faith in the future. Any thoughts? We're going to see. I haven't heard. Your liver doesn't love the Xanax. I think that when the statistics come out and we see how many kids vote, that will be a fairly, we can probably answer that better then. I'm not convinced that the younger generation isn't voting. I think I would need to see that written down. They also say that they're the least read generation on earth, right? That they've read less books than any other generation that came before them. And you know what? I don't buy that either. I don't know anybody that's a millennial that didn't read all of the books to Harry Potter. If you take all of those books and take how long, right, the whole volume thing is, it's like 4 War and Pieces. Trust me, these guys read, right? They read. You may not like what they read, but they read. Yeah, some of these drugs are not as hard on the liver as you would think. Now, everything is not good for your liver. The idea of I don't know that it's going to kill your liver. If you want to get off the stuff, then you should be able to get off of it. But if there's vicious anxiety in your life, and that's what they were, if that's what they were treating, then trust and believe, it may still be there, and you're going to need a plan for that. But you got to talk to your doctors, right? This is where your team, your medical team, is going to be the most important thing in the world. If you talk to these people, I promise you they can help you. There was an old Diddy who sat in the shoe, had so many kids, he didn't know what to do. That's great. That's great. I'm sorry. That's funny. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. I don't know factually about the liver. It is my random choice to say truly. The reason I was given it would floor you. That's a long story. If you don't want to tell it here, send me an email. Now I'm curious. I'm 64 and on Medicare. I don't know what to expect. I guess I'd better get ready to get a job. Connie B, God help us. Are you watching from the beginning of this? If you're about to lose your health care, take a deep friggin' breath. And anybody that wants to bet me that your health care is going to be gone in the next 15 minutes or 15 days, send me an email. I'm taking bets. By the way, not because I love whoever got elected, not because I've been doing this long enough to know that whoever gets elected, the sun comes back out. We got to grow up as a nation. I'm sorry we do. I am the Admiral. Sure you hate me, and I'll see you on the next one. Between now and then, try to get it together. Huh? No derangement. I promise the sky's not falling.